Hello friends, welcome to the session on interventions. Myself, Professor Bharti Fingar from Department of Management Studies, STM College of Engineering and Technology, Hyderabad. So today, our learning objectives are to understand what are these interventions and how can we design effective interventions for the organization. So, what is an intervention? So, this intervention is nothing but a certain tool or a technique which can help the organization to increase its effectiveness by solving its problems or also bringing out some developmental programs in the organization. So, it is a kind of a planned action which is being taken by the organization and being implemented in that organization effectively so that it can help the organization to grow, it can help the organization to flourish, it can also help the organization to increase its effectiveness or performance in terms of productivity, in terms of satisfaction by the stakeholders, in terms of any kind of an outcome, a positive outcome. So these interventions are a kind of a tools or techniques, they can also be called as planned actions or events which are intended to help the organization to increase its effectiveness. So by understanding the organization through diagnosing it, you will understand what kind of problems the organization is facing and what kind of changes can be brought in the organization so that it can uh, grow better, it can increase its effectiveness or performance in future. So for both the things, you conduct diagnosis, you try to understand what can be done for the organization, and based on that diagnosis, you will find out the solution. That is what is an intervention here. So just like a doctor gives a treatment after diagnosing the disease or the illness, here this intervention acts like a treatment for an organization development. So there are major four types of interventions which we are going to discuss in today's class. That is human process interventions, technostructural interventions, human resource management interventions, and strategic change interventions. So let us understand one by one what these are. Human process interventions concentrate more upon a relationship between the employees and the management. Here, it may be interrelationships between the employees also. Just like sometimes organization face conflicts, problems or issues in terms of communication, in terms of relationship, these human process interventions will help you to resolve those kind of issues. So what is this process consultation? So many a times organizations have always conflicts. So to resolve those conflicts or to resolve the problems of uh, miscommunication or poor communication systems in the organization, this process consultation technique or an intervention will help the organization to overcome the problem. So what is this process consultation and how does it work? So as the word itself tells you process, you try to bring in changes in the process of the communication patterns or relationships between the employees. That is, you do it using a consultant here. That consultant is a process consultant. He may be from within or he may be from outside the organization. He will help the employees to overcome their issues in terms of ending up in wrong communications or ending up in miscommunications, trying to make them more better communicators so that more of the issues can be resolved. At the same time, if there are any conflicts, this process consultant will help the employees to resolve those conflicts by communicating effectively. So that is what is a simple process of process consultation. Then we have third party interventions. It is an intervention which concentrates more upon conflict resolution. So every organization faces problems related to conflicts, that is, especially between the employees or group of employees in the organization. So here, the management may not be in a position to solve those kind of conflicts. In such situations, a third party person uh, is appointed to try to bring in some solution for this conflict resolution. So this kind of a process or this kind of an intervention is called as a third party intervention, where an outsider, a third party consultant will come and resolve your conflict on behalf of the employees and management. The third is the team building. So most of the times organizations face a problem of, and they always complain that employees don't work together. So nowadays, companies are spending lakhs together of rupees just to train their employees on how to work in a team. So for that reason, team building becomes a very important intervention, especially to bring that bonding between the employees. So, a lot of team building exercises, activities are conducted in the organization as a human process intervention, wherein the kind of bonding between the relation becomes more stronger between the employees. And this results in better workplace. And better workplace means satisfaction, and more satisfaction means um, performance is increased in the organization. So that's a kind of a team building intervention here. So these are few. There are more interventions in human related to human processes, but we are restricting ourselves to only three here.
Okay, next we shall discuss on technostructural interventions. It's a combination of two, that is technology plus bringing changes in the structure of the organization. So those kind of changes, we call them as technostructural interventions here. So these interventions may be structural, bringing out changes in the organization structure through redesigning the structure of the organization. So that's a structural design intervention. So here, what they do is, we already know what is an organization structure. So it may be a work process, it may be a reporting system in the organization, which makes sure that the organization runs systematically and smoothly. So here, to bring the change in that structure of the organization, okay, so why actually is needed? So it may be to save time, it may be, we'll discuss that a little bit later. It may be to save the time, or it may be to change the reporting system in the organization. So many reasons are there. So here, when it comes to reporting system, let us say the organization is following a functional structure. Okay, so where president, vice president, or CEO of the company is there at the top position. Under him, vice presidents are there. Under them, branch managers are there, and under them, we have executives. So here, these executives will be reporting to the branch managers of their respective departments. So let us say if the same executive is supposed to report to some other department or directly to vice president. So there, this functional structure will not work out, or this functional structure may not be suitable. So there is the need where a matrix structure comes into picture, which is a very complex kind of structural design, where a person will be reporting to two or three different type of people at the same time in the organization. So to bring out such convenience in the organization, structural changes can be made. There is one more way how you can change the structure. Imagine that the organization is completely centralized, where all the decisions are taken at the topmost level, due to which it is highly time consuming, because every decision has to go to top management, and they will take time to take a decision. In case if the system is decentralized, the decision making will be much faster. So here you can bring change in the organization structure, especially when it comes to centralization. You can always change it to decentralized system so that the decisions can be taken at a much faster pace. So these are some benefits of bringing out structural design interventions in the organization. Then downsizing. What is this downsizing? Downsizing. So here you are reducing the size of the organization with the number of employees. So the employees are removed from the organization for certain reasons. Let us say the organization has recently gone for automation. And when automation is there, ultimately many people will not be having any job. The reason is that job is taken up by the machines, due to which there is an idleness in the employees of the organization. So you have to make them sit and pay. That is not affordable for the company. So what you do, you try to cut down the size of the organization by removing the employees from the company, due to which how it is going to help you, it will help you to reduce the payment of the salaries. It will help you to even help or make easy for you to manage the people, because now there are lesser number of people in the organization. So the downsizing may be due to technological upgradations or information technology being adopted in the organization, which will lead to this downsizing system or an intervention. Then re-engineering. So here you are going to change the whole process in the organization, which will be highly beneficial for the company in terms of increasing the performance of the organization. So re-engineering can be here like shifting from old handloom system to the powerloom system, especially in the garment industry. So you are totally re-engineering, you are totally changing the whole work process of the organization by shifting from handloom industry to the powerloom industry. So that is what is an example of a re-engineering. Then comes your parallel structures. So these parallel structures are very similar to organizational structures. What happens? An organization is following a kind of a structure, a reporting structure. So without disturbing the original organization structure, the management will select people from different departments of the organization. And these people will be experts. These people will be highly skilled. These people have great decision making and problem solving abilities. Such kind of people are selected from various corners of the organization, and a small group is created. And that group has its own structure. So this small group is running parallelly with the original organization structure. That is why it is called as parallel structure. So they have to work on two areas here. One is original their work according to the main organization structure, and second, additional work is assigned to them as a part of parallel structures. Why these are needed? So whenever an organization wants to bring some improvements, changes, or developments in the organization, they call such kind of people. They motivate them. They tell them that this is what is expected from you, and these people are the one on their own, self motivated, work towards what kind of changes can be brought in the. Okay. So these parallel structures will help the organization to bring out small changes in the organization. So people, as a part of parallel structure, what they will do is they will sit, they will discuss in a group meeting and decide upon what kind of changes or what kind of developments can be brought in the organization and how it will be beneficial for the organization. So even based on this, they even plan the actions, and then what is their task is they go back to their departments and implement those plans. So by doing so, in every department, those improvements, those changes or developments are continuously happening by the help of these parallel structures. So that is what is parallel structure here. Then the last techno-structural intervention is total quality management. As the name itself tells you, it is about bringing complete quality in the organization. It may be in terms of work system, it may be in terms of giving services to the customers, it may be quality, bringing quality in the products, it may be bringing quality in the reporting patterns or communication systems, right? So every area which you take, so here you go with quality. So there are many techniques here when you want to bring total quality management in the organization. So like 5S, Japanese 5S model is there. Then we have Deming's model. We have many other kind of total quality management interventions or techniques which can be implemented. We have Six Sigma also. Okay, so these are some techniques wherein quality can be brought in. So hope you have all listened to or heard about Mumbai Dabbawalas. So these people are the one who have been rated as Six Sigma. Okay, that is very less errors, 0.0001% of errors they create or they make during the work system. So it is a complete man based work system. Still then they are able to work with 0.00000.001% of error here. Okay, so a very less percentage, almost 99.9999%, they are perfect in their task. So that is why voluntarily Six Sigma organization has given them the certification of Six Sigma, that is they are quality gurus. So that is total quality management. Then coming to human resource management interventions. Human process interventions were concentrating more upon individuals. Okay, so trying to improvise relationships, trying to build relationships, trying to create bonding between the employees. But human resource management interventions, they talk more about how management will support to increase the effectiveness in the organization, especially which are related to employees. That is human resource. So we'll discuss about that now. So these all initiatives, what you can see in the slide, they are taken up by the management so that the human resources can be motivated and happy to go ahead and work in a much better manner and give better results or outcomes. So what is this first one? So goal setting. It's very important that organization members, that is the individuals, employees of the organization, goals have to match with the organizational goals. So for this reason, the goals, whatever are being set up by the management, have to be reaching the HR, that is employees of the company. So based on that, they are supposed to set their goals. Okay, so the goal is something, it's a kind of a target which will help the employees to to understand what they are supposed to achieve for the organization. If at all you don't have that goal, you will end up in nowhere. So you cannot concentrate upon organizational success or performance. So for that reason, every individual in the organization should ensure that the goal has been set for them. The management has to ensure this so that they can be achieved by these individuals. So interventions can be brought here for helping the members or the employees to set their goals. It may be like some simple team building exercises, or it can be like manager and the employee face-to-face discussions. Such kind of interventions can be brought in. Okay, of course, goal has been set up, but what about the whether they have reached that goal or not? So there you need performance appraisal. It acts like it acts like a measurement technique wherein you will judge whether the employees have met their goals or not. So a performance appraisal technique is an intervention to bring control over the behavior or performance of the employees in the organization. Imagine if you don't have any exams, you will never study. So in the same way, if there is no appraisal measurement system in the organization, they will never think of performing seriously in the organization. So the same way it works out. So that is why it is an intervention to bring behavioral changes in the employees. Then coming to reward systems. Of course, now goal is being set. The employees are already working. You are already appraising them, measuring their performance on comparing them on the goals. Now, if there are people who are performing better or more better compared to other people, how to motivate them? So here you need reward systems. If the company or the management will not have a suitable reward system planned in the organization, your employees will be demotivated. So for that reason, you need to have a strong, flexible, customized reward systems for your employees. So that is what is an again one more intervention. So if that reward system is there, your employees will also be motivated and happy to work for the organization. So that is reward systems. Then coaching and mentoring. Uh, of course, we try to understand, measure the performance of the employees. We also thought about what kind of rewards can be given to them. But there are certain people who may not be performing in the organization, who may not be up to the mark, who may not be able to meet their goals. So that you are able to find out in the appraisal. So for them, what you are supposed to do, you cannot just throw them away, or you cannot just suspend them away from the terminate them from their services. For them, you can conduct coaching and mentoring classes or mentoring sessions. Coaching is something where there is a person who is more expert than you, and he will guide you on every step of your job. He will tell you what you are supposed to do and what you are not supposed to do. Hope you have observed a cricket coach, right? At every stage, he will be coaching the cricketers on the training field. So that is what is coaching. Mentoring is something which is more friendlier in nature. There, you try to build rapport with your employees and you try to understand the problems of your employees. Okay, so by doing so, what you will do, you will be able to solve their issues. So you will sit, you will build rapport, you will discuss with them, you will try to understand what are their issues, why they are happening, why they are not able to perform. And then based on the inputs what you get from that employee who is a troubled employee, you will try to give them solutions. So that is kind of a mentoring here. Then that is one more intervention to resolve the issues of not performing up to the mark in the organization. Then coming to management development programs. So these are also interventions where uh, every employee has to go through these training or developmental programs. Why it is needed? It is needed because they have to upgrade themselves with new technologies and skills. So these management development programs are nothing but programs which help the employees to upgrade themselves from the existing level to the next level, to learn more, to uh, incorporate new skills which may be really beneficial for the organization. Then we have career planning and developmental programs. So here, if you don't give a career ladder to your employees, they will not be interested to stay back with you. You should always give them a career plan so that they will also understand what is there in this organization for them in future. So then only you will be able to attract them, keep them, retain them in your organization. So career ladder is something that every year or every 2 years where you are going to reach, which position you are going to reach and what will be your salary in future. So that are career planning and developmental programs. Then managing workforce diversity. This is a challenge which always you can find in bigger and multinational companies, where a very unique, interesting, complex kind of workforce is existing. Male, female, two types of genders working there. Then we have different age group people working there. We have different kind of people coming from different states working there. We have people coming from various countries also working there. We have people coming from various cultures coming and working in one single place. So there is a total diverse, what I can say, uh, diverse kind of workforce in the organization. So managing them is not an easy task here. So for that reason, you should ensure that you are able to fulfill the requirements of each and every kind of category of employees. So it may not be easy or it may not be completely possible also, but still you have to ensure. This is a one hot topic of research nowadays in HR, because the more the diversified workforce, the more the challenges for the management here. How to manage them, how to cooperate with them, coordinate between them, how to solve their issues. So these are some challenges which you have to come across, wherein interventions are necessary to resolve the problems. And nowadays, law companies are really doing an excellent job for managing these workforces, variety of workforces. Then the last category here is employee stress and wellness program. So this is one topic which is a very hot topic of discussion nowadays. wherein it is said because of the kind of a work system or work pattern here, it is highly pressurized environment for the employees, and that results in stress, mind, and also health related issues. So for these reasons, the HR management has to bring out some techniques, strategies, workshops, programs wherein you can make your employees come out from the stress or release their stress, and at the same time maintain their health and wellness, right? So a happiness workshop can be conducted, a kind of a stress management workshops can be conducted, where some activities, yoga activities can be conducted. So these are interventions to decrease the stress in the employees and increase the wellness, health wellness in the employees of the organization. So these are some human resource management techniques which can, from the management side, which can bring a very big change in the employees' minds. This is the last category, that is strategic change management, or change interventions. So here, the first strategic change itself tells you something that it is very big. So here, so it is trying to bring change throughout the organization. So in the first category, it was only related to individuals. Second category, it was related to technology and structures. Third category, it was related to how to manage people in the organization. Fourth category is to bring changes throughout the organization. So whatever interventions are brought, they are going to affect the whole organization as such. So what are these? We are going to discuss now. The first one is organization design. So here you change the design of the organization completely. Design in the sense it starts from the structure of the organization till the reporting patterns also. Okay, it may be technology, it may be reporting systems, it may be centralized or decentralizing systems, anything. So it is a total change in the organization which you can find. Long back, around 10 or 12 years back, I guess, our Indian Railways went with this transformational change of bringing complete organization design change, where they shifted from the old system to completely automated system. Now you can book your tickets online, you can check your PNR status, you can log into complaints, you can check your where your train is, when it is going to arrive. You have so many facilities from railways today. So this is complete change of organization design. This is an example for it. So here, a kind of a, we can say a huge transformational change can be considered. So total transformation from the older system to the completely new, changed, innovative look for the Indian Railways today. And they're really functioning very, very nicely. And today people are also happy with how Indian Railways are performing. Cultural change. There is, you can go through Google also. There is one model called as Octopace model, okay, which talks about 8 different types of cultures in the organization. So here, if the culture of the organization is very rigid, stringent, highly bureaucratic, it becomes very difficult in the organization to operate smoothly. So the culture of the organization has to be very open. It has to accept the views and opinions of other people in the organization. So people have to keep aside their egos and communicate properly with the other employees of the organization. So these positive changes in the culture have to be brought in. So for that, what interventions are needed? It may be like training interventions. Okay, so where training is conducted for the newly fresh joinees, to teach them how the culture of the organization is. Infosys is very good in this. Through its state-of-art training center in Mysore, a 4-month training period every new joinee has to go through, where with the job, even the culture training is given to those people. Okay. With the job, even the culture training is given to the employees of the organization. So that is very much essential. So then comes your learning organizations. So these learning organizations are something, if you create, it will be for a lifetime. So this is a very beneficial for the organizations, because a kind of an atmosphere is created in the organization where everybody, that is employees of the organization, will accept new things. See, most of the times whenever we bring new things to the people or the employees, the first answer is why, and second answer is no, we don't want it. So if you are able to create that welcoming learning organization kind of environment in the companies, your employees will be much faster in accepting the changes. They will learn faster, they will accept the new changes which are happening around them. This ultimately can make an organization grow more faster than other organizations. So that is why learning organizations are very, very important in today's competitive era. Mergers and acquisitions. So this mergers and acquisitions, you already know what are they. Merger is when two equal companies come together. Acquisition is when larger company takes on with a smaller company. So during this situation, it's a big change in the company. That's why it comes under the category of strategic change. So here, whenever there are mergers, acquisitions, or even we consider alliances, what happens is there is a lot of complexities which arise in the organization. Employees will be afraid whether they will lose their jobs or what. Employees will be in a dilemma whether the culture of the organization will change. Employees are in a stress because they have to report to new people now, right? So there are many HR related issues which may come up due to mergers, acquisitions, or alliances. So for this reason, how to smoothen out, or how to ensure that your employees are not having that dilemma or stress in their minds. So such kind of interventions are planned for the organizations, especially during the mergers and acquisitions period. It may be like a meeting where all the employees are called of both the companies who are getting merged or acquired, and they are informed about how things are going to happen. Transparency, if you are able to maintain in the organization, that is one of the best intervention you can find out to smoothen the whole merger and acquisition process. So this is an example of how intervention can help you to go through your merger and acquisition or alliance kind of situations. So these are all strategic change interventions. So other than these, there are many more interventions. So we are restricting, for this session, we are restricting ourselves to only these varieties of interventions. So if you have any other doubts,